Good evening. Welcome to the press conference for Novak Djokovic. Please raise your hand, state your name and organisation when asking your question. There will be no other preview media tomorrow, so please make sure you get your questions in for about the final. So we'll just start off. Another final. How does that sound?
Good. Very good. Obviously, it's always a goal to get to the championship match. For me, at least, every tournament that I play on, particularly Grand Slam. So, of course, I'm very satisfied and pleased that I am putting myself in a position to win the trophy. Good match today. Didn't start off well as I did in most of my matches here in Wimbledon. I didn't feel so good at the beginning and a lot of mistakes. Just didn't find my rhythm. Nerves were kicking in for both of us. He handled them better and was a better player for set and a half. One poor game from his side and 4-3 second set, and the match turned around. I think the momentum shifted and I started feeling better, serving better, and just getting him to move around the court, making him work. And so solid 3 sets after that. I know I always expect from myself that I can play better than I did, but I have to be pleased with this win.
Novak, Rob Moore from The Sun. Can I just clarify, it seemed like you were blowing kisses at a bit of a troll in the centre court crowd. Was that the case, and were you surprised by the reaction of the crowd?
No, I was blowing kisses to somebody that was cheering for me.
Congratulations on the win today. Nick was in earlier speaking about your romance that's been blossoming over the past few months.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you please just speak a bit louder?
Nick was in earlier saying that you've kind of developed a bromance.
A bromance?
A bromance over the past few months. Just wanted to hear your kind of side of things, how your relationship's evolved over the past few years to now.
I don't know if I can call it a bromance yet, but we definitely have a better relationship than what it was probably prior to January this year. But when it was really tough for me in Australia, he was one of the very few players that came out publicly and supported me and stood by me. So that's something I truly appreciate, and so I respect him for that a lot.
Novak, Tony Jones from Channel 9 Australia. Just on that, you mentioned January. Are you feeling as though Australia has become your nemesis this year?
I don't think that Australia is becoming a nemesis. I don't know what you were referring to exactly, whether it's because I'm playing an Australian in the finals or because...
Well, there was the turmoil in January, and now you've got an Australian standing in your way of another Wimbledon title.
Look, whatever happened in Australia is now behind, and it's been 6 months since that moment, and I'm really pleased to be in another Grand Slam finals. Obviously, the beginning of the year was quite turbulent for me emotionally. It wasn't something that I ever faced before, but as I said, I'm just looking forward to this final and hopefully giving it all and winning.
Novak, Howard Fenderich with the Associated Press. Wanted to ask you about the sort of tension and maybe how do you balance between the smaller picture of playing well in the moment, winning a particular match, and the bigger picture things that are at stake. You mentioned being nervous at the beginning today, the kinds of history you're striving for, and how those two play in your mind.
Well, I'm aware of what's on the line. I mean, in every match, every Grand Slam that I get to play at this stage of my career, there is a lot on the line, and I don't know how many Grand Slam opportunities to win the trophy I will still have, as I will have in a few days' time. So of course I'm approaching it with positive attitude and self belief and willingness to win. There's no doubt about it. How do you balance that? Well, it's really subjective. So every player is different. I can't really, and I don't want to speak about all the details and the routines that I have that make me feel well balanced and prepared. But there are things that I do in order to make myself mentally, emotionally, and physically well prepared. Again, that's not a guarantee because on the court a lot of things can happen and there's so much going on and pressure and expectations, and sometimes you're able to handle it better than your opponent, sometimes not. But the experience that I have at this level and playing in the finals against someone that has never played a Grand Slam final could be slightly in my favor, but at the same time, knowing who he is and how he goes about his tennis and his attitude on the court, he doesn't seem to be falling under pressure much. He plays lights out, every time he steps out on the court, just a lot of power in his serve and his game. So I'm sure he's going to go for it. No doubt he's going to be aggressive. I expect him to do that. I'm going to make sure I get ready for that one and let the better player win.
Mike Dixon, the Mail. Novak, can you just clear something up? There have been pictures of you this week looking like you're sort of inhaling or something out of a bottle. Could you just share with us perhaps what that is, or is it an optical illusion? Or
magic potion. That's all I can say. It helps.
No, I mean, so it's...
You'll find out soon. It's, but I can't speak about it now, but you'll find out soon.
What may appear. You just touched on your experience and Nick playing his first final. Can you recall back when you played Roger in the US Open final, your first Grand Slam final? He was one of the all-time greats. Now Nick's in that position playing you as one of the all-time greats.
Well, back in 2007, it was my... Excuse me?
How you were feeling going to that?
Well, it's quite a long time ago. I can't really recall exactly the sensations I had, but of course it was I was overexcited and I didn't really feel too much pressure, to win a match because for me it was already a huge achievement reaching the finals, and of course most of the pressure was on Roger to win because he was expected to win. He was a favorite to win. So I mean I understand that situation might be quite similar, even though Nick is not as young as I was at 2007, and so I think that helps him because he's more mature mentally, has more years in his legs on the court and more matches and big matches. Actually, he's a big match player. If you see his career, the best tennis he's played is always against the top guys. So that's why we all respect him because we know what he can come up with, and it's going to be an interesting match.
Matt Futterman from the New York Times. Given the trajectory of Nick's career, are you surprised that he's going to be on the other side of the net from you in a Wimbledon final? And do you prepare in a different way to play someone who can be as erratic as he is on the court?
Well, I mean, in a way, it's a surprise because his ranking and he has never reached the Grand Slam final, so maybe not too many people were giving him big chances to reach the finals. But I think between us players, we always know how dangerous he is on grass, particularly because of his game and just because of his attitude on the court, being so confident and just going for it and being a very complete player. And it seems like mentally he's at a better state than what he was, where he was some years ago. So as I said, of course, as time passes by, you're maturing, you're understanding yourself what you need to do in order to get yourself to the best possible optimal state of mind, body, and soul in order to perform your best. And these are the occasions where he thrives. big stage. So in a way, it's also not surprise for me that he's there. And I'm honestly, as a tennis fan, I'm glad that he's in the finals, because he's got so much talent, and everyone was praising him when he came on the tour, expecting great things from him. And of course, then we know what was happening throughout many years with him, and mentally, emotionally, and on and off the court, a lot of different things that were distracting him, and he was not being able to get this consistency. But for the quality player that he is, he this is where he needs to be, and he deserves to be.
Hi Novak, Eleanor Cookson Press Association. Just on Cam, this was obviously a huge step forward for him. Is he somebody that you can see getting to this stage of a slam again, and maybe even further?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's all-round player as well, a very professional guy. I mean, I see the things that he's doing off the court. I even saw him today. I didn't want to interrupt him, but it was actually funny. But in a good way, that he brought his little scale, to weigh himself before, after the warm-up, because we were kind of in the same part of the locker room. So I saw him doing that, and I was thinking to myself, wow. I mean, there is a scale in the locker room, but he doesn't trust it. He brought his own, and so I thought, wow, this is, professionalism on another level, and I. Or something else, I don't know, but it seemed to me that he's really being very precise with his weight and how much liquids he's losing. I guess that's the main reason for it. So he's very thorough about his chores and his preparation and his recovery. So I like to see that, because I have that kind of approach as well, and with this kind of approach, I feel like you're always going to get chances. You're always going to get rewards for being so professional.
Simon Griggs, Daily Telegraph. You're so experienced now. Does it not matter when you play a guy who's in front of their home crowd, or is it still a little bit more difficult in that situation?
With this situation today, you mean?
Yeah, just when you're playing a guy who's got such loud support.
I mean, look, it's never pleasant to have the whole stadium cheering for your opponent. Of course, it's something that I expected coming into the match. That is, it was logical for that to happen. Because he's hometown hero, and they wanted him to win, and I knew what kind of environment I'm going into, But I felt like I was, maintaining my focus pretty well, considering I was set down and wasn't playing well, feeling well, but then somehow I managed to turn the match around. And I mean, you could see today on the court that he dropped the focus a little bit a few times, and that's where I stepped in and really started to control the pace of the match and exchanges from the baseline. And he was asking for the support of the crowd, and he was getting it, so it was not easy to close out the match for me. Even though I was a break up in the fourth, I felt like I was constantly being chased by him, from the early in the set when I made that break, and I just felt a lot of pressure to serve it out. But I did serve well, and I think when you serve well, it's a big relief, in this kind of circumstance, this kind of matches. It helps a lot playing on grass. Speaking of the next matchup, I mean, I'm going to have one of the best servers we have in the game. So, that's going to be a different matchup, because it's playing lefty now, I'm playing righty. So there's a lot of tactical adjustments that need to be made.
Yeah, Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. Obviously, you don't want to fall behind today or the quarterfinal or last year in the final, whatever. But do you think there's a part of your personality where you actually really enjoy solving the problems at that point?
Well, I'm forced to be, I'm in this situation where I have to find solutions. I mean, I'm not the only one. Look, every player that goes out on the court needs to adjust and adapt and accept circumstances and find solutions in order to win a tennis match. For me, arguably it's on a different level because I have to deal with with different things that are on also off the court. The crowd being or maybe on the side of my opponent most of the times, but this is something that throughout my career I've been used to. The more you experience this kind of situations, the not the better you feel, but just more prepared you feel. You know what to expect, and then it's always really about handling your own nerves better than maybe your opponent is his own. And it's this internal battle is always the greatest because the practice sessions where you don't have the crowds or expectations, you play great, and then you come into a match and you realize, it's amazing how the whole game can fall apart, really, just because you feel you're tense, and then no shots are really working properly, and because your feet are static and slow, and then something happens in a match, and then all of a sudden it's completely different. And you're flying, everything flows. So it's really all the time. There are these I would say challenges that you're facing internally, but also externally. So it's really a constant battle, and all these obstacles that you have to face. Really, it's I think an amazing exercise to stay in the moment, because being present is, I feel like, something that is the best state that athlete is looking for, because then you are able to, I guess, exclude or switch off certain things and distractions and really focus only on the next point. That's the zone that everybody talks about, that is really difficult to reach but very easy to lose.
Okay, last one, Chris.
And Novak, just the serve with Nick. You played a lot of guys over the years, and you haven't played Nick in a while.
Yeah.
And a lot of big servers, but what is it about his serve that makes it, in your opinion, so great?
I mean, his motion for the serve is so fluid, and just very quick. He can hit any angle, really. He tosses it forward, so he can come in, serve and volley. He just puts himself in a great position to be aggressive or to stay back, but he's always 1 meter in front of the baseline, and it's tough to read his serve. I mean, I haven't practiced with him or played with him really since the last time I lost to him in was it 17, I think. So on grass, I would assume it's even tougher, to read his serve and to return, because he has so many free points, and you could see that throughout this tournament as well. And he just puts additional pressure on your serve. And he moves well for his, he's got great hands, and so very complete player, and it's just, I guess it's going to be a game of small margins, I hope I can be at the desired level, and then really it's a mental game in the end, who stays tougher and calmer in decisive moments.